In a world with entirely too many shows about cars, this is another pointless automotive podcast.
Welcome back to another Pointless
Hi.
Automotive podcast. Chadwick and Frank with you again for what's going to be another captivating, I don't know, I can't sell it anymore. Another episode?
Titillating. It's gonna be.
Ooh.
Does anyone actually know what scintillating means?
I like
People use it, but
titillating.
well,
I like
titillating. But
titillating.
what is like? I
It's the
I
same.
I think
It's
these are words that people just use, but they don't
it's a
actually know what they
synonym.
mean.
Yeah.
Is it? I don't know.
It definitely has the root is definitely it's one of those phrases that was used back when it was applicable. It actually meant something specifically, but then got incorporated to our diction today. Well,
You said
not even more.
you basically use titillate and diction in the same sentence, and
Yeah.
it's scintillating.
And
How are you? How are you, Chadwick?
good, man. It's been about a week since we've talked last. So.
Yes, it's been an actual calendar week, and I have a new beverage. I remember last week, and last episode, I was drinking from the same brewery of their single IPA, which is world famous. This is the more world famous Heady Topper. It's universally known as one of the greatest beers in the history of mankind, and I have it by pure luck, not by design. How about you? What are you drinking?
Miller Lite again. Got another fresh can. I'm not an IPA guy, so
I know you're not. I know, and you know what? I think you're better for it. If I'm being
honestly, I do like. I gotta step my game up. I'm just trying to hydrate here. It's been a rough couple days, so
it is nearly water. So.
it really is water plus. But I like good pilsners, reds, blondes, and some beer.
And brunettes, yeah.
No, but seriously, just never IPAs. They're too dry for me, and I'm also like a hard alcohol
body type
kind
is
of guy.
Pilsner. Carry on.
I'm a gin and tonic kind of guy because once you cross that, you cross that dirty old man line, you can just fucking let it rip, dude. So
no, I think when you're like dirty old man is when you go like cigar and like a snifter of brandy, and there's a tiny bug flying around my face, and I want to get rid of it.
It looks massive on camera. Don't sell yourself short.
Okay.
But I'm gonna jump into this episode. How about that?
Just let it rip. Normally we try and on the fly craft some kind of shitty segue, but just what are we doing today? Let's just cut to the chase.
So this one, cutting to the chase. Let me be succinct, which is something we fail at on a weekly basis.
Mm-hmm. Professionally,
we think about cars a lot. You and I know this. It's like an unhealthy amount. Even when we probably shouldn't be thinking about cars. So I thought we'd have an episode where we just air it out, man.
Gross.
We're going to put it out there in the world. And I want to ask each other questions. We can return. Yeah, we can return the questions to each other. So I'm going to ask you, if I ask you a hard question, ask the same thing back to me. And I figured we kind of do that little, like a little tennis match back and forth. And just anything's fair game, man. Any questions, probe each other's minds. Just I wanted this one to be automotive daydreaming. So like anything you're entertaining or dreaming about or thinking about in the car world, I want to hear about it. So I've got some good questions for you, my friend.
Boy, it's interesting because the whole daydreaming thing, I find myself daydreaming about different things than I did in my past, right? So
okay.
and I feel like this is just a part of getting old. I no longer am like, chasing the fastest, most higher horsepower thing possible. And so I feel like my automotive dreams have corresponded with that. Like I'm officially turning into slow car fast guy, which is good, I think, as far as like budgets are concerned, as far as my own health and safety is concerned, and the welfare of those who I leave behind if I turn my car into a coffin. So my dreams today, like my realistic, real world, practical dreams today are different than they would have been 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 years ago. Like we were just hot on the heels of last week talking about video games and all the exotics and all the crazy stuff in the video games. And back then it was like, oh yeah, like I want a Viper or I want a Diablo VT and I want a McLaren, I want the McLaren F1 because I played it in Need for Speed 2. Today's dreams are much, much different. So when we're talking daydream, you want to just like, what am I thinking of
Yeah.
today? It's like a practical I might actually
Oh, so
be
yeah, let's.
interested in, like a modest, like this could actually, I can actually like hawk some of my piles of junk over here, and then like get one of these reasonably, and like that's my next dream. Like I'm dreaming of the next stepping stone, or are we
Well,
going pie in the sky? Like, what
so
do you?
here we go. Good question. Because my first question on my list is: do you have any current automotive crushes? Uh,
Ooh,
Eyeing anything particular? If I'm to look through your Facebook Marketplace browsing history, other than like 12-inch black dongs, dildos. What
no,
else are
no,
we
I'm
gonna
not
find for
searching any of
cars?
that. I don't,
Sure,
I
but
am not nearly equipped to handle 12 inches.
the
The
survey says. But so let's go realistically and dreamingly. So pick
Okay.
something that you're actually realistically thinking about. Maybe crossing that bridge from just admiring to parking in your collection. And
Um,
we'll
okay,
start
so
there. Basics.
I'm gonna start, and I'm gonna split this in two ways.
Ooh, speaking of
Um,
12 inches.
I'm gonna split. I'm gonna spit roast this thing in two ways. No, I'm gonna split this two ways in a like a driver, like a daily. Like I might
Yeah,
want to have this as a daily
sure.
versus like, hey, this is gonna be another. Like I'm looking for these semi-casually, semi-aggressively to bring home and like tinker with and have for a little bit and flip or not or what. And so on the not less practical side, but still not terribly impractical, I've found myself looking for Contour SVTs,
Interesting car.
and they're not they're
No,
not expensive.
not at all.
They're not easy to find in good shape, and so
True.
that's like that's the balance. Is like I'll find one, and like I found one 10-ish days ago here locally, a guy in Pleasant Hill, like 5 minutes from my house. Um, and I shot him a message, and he was like, "Oh, my buddy." This was before this past weekend, and he was like, "Oh, my buddy is going to be coming into town, and he wants to buy it, so I might sell it to him." And he was
Mm,
asking like $2,800 at 147,000 miles running, smogged, and I was like, "Ooh, I kind of want it." It was silver with
that's
a gray
kind of a
interior.
that's a good spec. That
Yeah, like
that
in
mileage
my
for that
backyard.
price. Yeah.
Yeah, and like, okay, fine. Like it might spin the. Uh, those had was it crankshaft issues? There was a common issue on those motors. I don't remember if it was camshaft snapping, like camshafts cracking, or crankshafts. One of the two, where it was like
I can't. There was
catastrophic.
something. There were a couple issues with that too, and the build quality. I know the interior build quality was subpar.
Yeah, I know the because I've been looking. The
Yeah.
dashes like fold up and they warp and they crack and they break, and the leather, it's like a perforated leather seats, and they
Oh, it's
fall apart.
bad. Yeah.
This one was pretty clean.
Okay.
Um, and I missed out on it, and I'm sad. But I'm looking.
Aw.
I would like to have one of those to play around with. It's 200 horsepower, 2.5 liter V6. Um,
5-speed manual only.
yeah, 5-speed manual only. They're a good size. Um, it was supposed to
Cosworth.
be.
Little bit of
That's
Cosworth
right, little
magic in that
heritage there,
engine.
because it was supposed to be. I mean, that was. And how many times has this been said in human history? It was supposed to be the 3 Series fighter back in the day, right?
Front wheel drive, of course.
Sure. Well, yeah, that's the problem. But I want one, and so I was looking for that. And then on the daily side, I still haven't decided if I'm a luxury car guy.
Mm.
With the LS that I picked up, I'm still playing with it. It's a very very competent and good car.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. It's just thoroughly not exciting. But then if I have to drive in it for 2.5 hours and I get out of it, I'm like, oh, I feel great. Like it's a nice place to spend time in and be relaxed. So I don't know. But if I was gonna do another drive daily, I'm kind of thinking back to my Kona N or a Launcher N thing. Like
Good cars. Yeah.
there's all this hubbub about like, the CTR's been out for a bit now, and now people are talking about the new Integra Type S, and like it MSRPs at like low 50s, and then but then there's $20,000 in ADM on it.
At least. Yeah.
McLaren is going to pay 75,000+ plus taxes and everything. All of a sudden, you're deeply into the $80,000 range on an
Unbelievable.
Integra. Like I couldn't do that when you can just walk in, pay MSRP or under on an Elantra N and get 92% of the way there.
Yeah, it's a good car.
You know, sure, maybe child labor was involved in the manufacturing of it because it's Hyundai. But that aside, yeah. How about you? What do you? I went long there. What are you thinking
Yeah.
on like it on those same thing? If you were gonna split it or not split it, what's your thoughts?
Well, what's funny is like, didn't we do like a forecasting the year episode at the beginning of the year? And I was like, I am not buying any cars in 20. How many cars
Damn
have I
it.
bought this year, Frank?
Not enough, sir.
I feel like I've actually bought a lot of cars
Oh,
this
a
year.
lot. You have, but it's still
Yeah.
not enough.
Yeah, but I said 0, so I kind of missed my mark on that shot. But looking at the same shit, Suzuki sidekicks, Geo trackers, I have a soft spot in my heart. I really want to find one that just it's got to be a manual, got to have that cool like confetti interior. It's just got to be a cool color, got to be in good enough shape, 4-wheel drive. It's
Would you
hard
do
to
a
find
Samurai?
one. They're
Or they're
too
just
overpriced for
small?
what they are, and that engine, that power plant's fine, but it's it's carved. It doesn't have a lot of power. That 1.6 that's in the sidekicks is like so much more powerful and easier to work on and more reliable. Blah blah blah, and they're not getting the premium that the
Yeah.
Samurais are now.
I'm looking and I don't see it. I'm looking real time because I meant to send it to you and I realized I didn't.
Mm.
It was a really clean tin top Samurai.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I
Um,
love the Samurais. It's just they're really asking a premium, and
they
they were
are
rust prone.
this one was super clean, and I want to say they were asking like 7,
Yeah,
which
you
is
can get a
kind of a lot,
sidekick.
but this one was super nice.
You can get a sidekick
Yeah,
for
it's
like 3
gone.
to 4K, right? So that's the
Yeah,
difference, and the engine's way better. Aside from that, it's the usual shit boxes. I always look for Ford Escort GTs, Cavalier Z24s, and I'm really, really doubling down on Quad 4. Like I want to make it
we
happen.
gotta do it, my guy.
I need a manual though, like because I see a lot of well, not a lot, but when it comes up, it's usually an automatic, and these are rare. They were like late
Super collapse.
'80s, early '90s, and that's the cutoff, like strict cutoff. And I feel like there's not many still in rotation. So
Yeah, and it's tough because anytime you like Facebook Marketplace quad 4, you just get a whole bunch of quads,
yeah,
like
because no one
ATVs.
knows.
You
Yeah,
just
and
get a
no
whole
one.
bunch of ATVs.
It's insane, and like most of them are stuck with that shitty 3.1 V6 or the earlier
Yeah.
2.8. So,
Yep.
that's what I'm currently looking at.
What about what if you were to get like a new? I know you basically have multiple new dailies, but if you if you were to like sell, let's say you sell off your Mini Cooper and the C30 and maybe something else, and they're like, okay, like I'm gonna have, let's say, I'm just gonna make up a number. Let's say 30 to 50 for a daily. Like what's your practical daily shopping list like?
Oh God, it's tough, man.
And I
It's
know you don't
really
shop in that price point. Neither do I. Generally, I've never purchased a car
well.
in that price point ever. But
Yeah, it's tough. I've been looking at something more modern, and it's just every time I test drive something, it's like, I don't love it. I don't want. It's cool, but
yeah,
do I want this to be my everyday car? And if I get something sporty, it's sporty, but it's not livable enough. And then the livable stuff's too livable and not enough engagement to make it fun. Uh, and that's why I'm kind of stuck with the C30 R design and the Mini Cooper S because they're both freaking awesome and both are fun, very different cars, but kind of the same hot hatch. I don't know, man. Honestly,
GR Yaris,
what's that?
GR Yaris, because I feel like the ADM bloom is off the rose on those a little bit. Like you can kind of pick those up at about MSRP now, which at like say
I
40.
still take a Civic Type R over one of those.
I don't think you can. Can you get one of those at MSRP right now?
No, I'd get an
Or
older
you go
Civic Type
a
R. Yeah,
couple years older?
yeah. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna buy a new. Then I'll wait. I mean, the new ones are better, but I still like the old ones, and they're just like it's probably the best front wheel drive car we'll ever see. It's so damn good. I don't know if
Yeah.
you've driven one, but
I haven't.
I've driven a slightly modified one, the old one, not the brand new one. I don't think
Right.
they changed too much, and it's just as a daily, it's still a Civic, and it's 4 doors, and there's plenty of space.
Yeah,
And
a lot of
then
room.
on a track, it really hangs with some heavyweights. It's just a sorted car. Like Honda doesn't put Type R on anything that isn't like what they consider their best pedigree. So
are we both thinking that we would have a front driver sports car daily?
I think that's the way to go, man. And like it's good for fuel economy. It's good for interior cabin space, right? You get more room. I don't know. Yeah, yeah.
I wish there was a world that I can get away with like a couple year old M2 as a daily.
Ooh,
But I
you like
can't. Like
those?
that's
Yeah.
just not practical. Um, they're just the right size. It's
Yeah.
like if they it's like an E46 reissue. Like as far as the size, like
I would
the
take the
sizing and stuff
1M.
like
I
that.
would take the 1M. I think the 1M looks so much better.
I do too, but I would want a
How
little
about a
more of the more modern
128?
stuff.
Take a 128. See how
That's it.
pricey
I
those
mean,
are now.
that's the bargain. That's the bargain. That's the bargain mode. Is
If you
you
can
go
find an
128,
M
but this
Sport
is
manual 128, good luck with
yeah,
that.
yeah. They're not common, but they exist. Um, how dreamy do we want to get, my friend? Because I'm
We can go all
thinking,
the way, baby.
ooh, let's go all the way. Wait, isn't that an ICP song? I don't know. Um, the
Should be.
if you were gonna go,
Mm,
money is no object,
okay.
1980s only.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's it. What are you doing?
So, actually, I had a category for you, and
Oh,
this is the car I picked. So I wanted you because let's combine our questions
let's do it.
because
Combine forces.
we are not flashy car guys.
No.
Right. I feel uncomfortable in a flash. Even the 300ZX gets a little too much attention, which is funny, but it's because it's so
Right.
clean and stock looking. You don't see those
And
anymore.
red.
Yeah, and bright red. So that gets almost a little too much. My NSX was horrible. Like I couldn't drive it without like a dude hanging out of his like M5 was like videotaping me going down the highway. I'm like, this is the weirdest fucking thing ever. So I'm not flashy car guy, but
However,
if I was to pick a cool daily, money no object from the 80s, on my list, I have the Aston Martin V8. And I picked a late 80s version of that. British Racing Green manual trans. I don't think I could pick a like because it's like my style. It's boxy,
hmm
cool. It's the end of the 80s, and it's a actually fast car for its time too. It's incredibly fast. And you know the one I'm talking about, the one that's definitely paying homage to American muscle.
Yeah, and I think what's
Ah,
funny is
mm.
when I think of those cars, I don't think of them as an 80s car at all because they're very 70s and I think production of those started in like 1970.
I think it started,
Um,
yeah, early 70s and went all the way to 1990, I think. So
yeah, something like that,
So
88, 89, 90.
I'd grab like an 88 and British Racing Green because I don't think you can Mini Cooper behind me. You can't get a British car, even though that's a German British car, without that color. I think it looks so good in that color. The interiors were pretty nice and they just look good. Good engine.
Did
And it's
they
all the money though.
did
All the
they
money.
give them because anytime I picture one of those cars, they they're like a 70s like chrome bumper. Did they get like big impact bumpers in the 80s? I suppose they probably did, but maybe they masked them pretty well. Because I picture them, yeah, as you said, like a British muscle car, like a
Oh,
straight up. What was
goddamn
the
good
James
looking.
Bond movie where it's like he like drives one down like a snowy cliff face or something crazy?
Oh, I
Um,
can't remember off the top of my head.
yeah, but they
Yeah.
those are very cool. In my mind, those are it's a 70s car, which that's fine. Like
True.
it's
Yeah.
either
They
way,
didn't
they
change
are
looks
super
too much.
cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and they were a product of the 70s that they made until the 90s, which is crazy.
And to me, it's just
But I mean,
that's
whatever. They did that with like the R107 Mercedes SL, basically.
true. But this is a flashy car. It's going to get a lot of attention, but it's like subtle kind of because it's muscly
Yeah,
looking.
it's
It's something
classy. It's an
about it.
Aston.
Gorgeous
Yeah.
car. But that's to answer your question. Yeah, something from the 80s. Absolutely. Probably would scoop one of those bad boys up and I would daily the shit out of it. Just if I had that kind of money, what a interesting daily.
What's interesting is when you first said the V8 Aston, I was thinking of like the the generation after the Virage, where
Oh,
that
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
which are by all accounts like impossibly massive piles of garbage. Like they're just
Mm-hmm.
they're undrivable. They're just a kit car with like leather and shittier construction. Like they're just
Yep.
terrible. But God, those are cool looking. First off, yeah, I mean that's a good. I don't know how many they made of those Aston Martin V8s in the 80s. Not like 1,000. Like I
Yeah,
don't know.
it's like an insanely expensive
I mean
car,
during
but
the course of the decade, maybe like 1,000. Like
oh
I
yeah,
don't
very
know.
low volume car. Yeah.
Yeah. So very cool. I think I kind of I my
Mm.
car guy answer which is not my answer, but car guy answer is like, oh, you got to buy an F40, you got to get a Ferrari F40, or you got to get a 959. Like those are the only answers. I poo-poo those answers. Sure. I would rather have a Ferrari 288 GTO. And I'm not Ferrari guy. But that's probably my favorite Ferrari.
Okay. Nice looking car.
Because it sort of looks like a 308 or 328, but just like on steroids.
Yeah.
And you know, a 2.8 liter twin turbo V12, or sorry, V8 that later ends up in effectively transported into the F40, but just lower production number. Just really, really cool. I remember I've seen one in the wild ones, and I don't know what production numbers are on those. I know they're very low. And they made like different versions. They had the Evoluzione, and where they put kits and stuff on it. But I think it'd be one of those. I feel like every single one of them is Rosso Corso.
Yeah.
I think it'd be cool to have one in like metallic brown, like some way not classic Ferrari color. A light blue, like just a different color. And I think that's what I would do if I was doing 80s only. I love 80s Japanese cars, but I don't know that there's one that would supplant that car in a money no object scenario.
Yeah, I'd go back in time and get like a 2000 GT for sure.
Yeah, I mean
that's going to check a lot of boxes.
Yeah, I would do 60. If I have, if it was a full money, like not decade specific, money is no object question, then 2000 GT is my car. Money and maintenance and parts and repair and housing for it are not, because that's a bubble wrap car.
Yeah. But just on
but I don't want to drive it. Just imagine, take one of those on a driving rally and just like kick the shit out of it for 1,000 miles.
Rock chips. Nope.
Oh yeah, just go. Okay. Get one of the Shelby ones, like the actual Shelby 2000 GTs.
Can't.
You got one to throw my way, homie?
I do. This is a good one, man. Speaking of daydreaming, out of all your current projects, your automotive projects, which one do you wish you could just snap your fingers and have it be completely done? Any of them? Think about it for a moment. It's a good question. And since we have more than one project to think about, we are the problem. But carry on.
Okay, let me start my math by just doing subtraction. Suburban Civic Hybrid LS 430, easy goes a ways. The 41 Chevy truck, I'm just gonna sell, and it doesn't need a whole lot to prep for sale.
Yeah.
And I know I've been talking about getting that thing sold forever, but life.
You have.
So yeah, those are off the table. The Galant doesn't need much; it just needs to be driven, and so that's going away. The little green 924 doesn't. It needs the motor mounts that showed up in the mail last week, and so I have those. And then other than that, it needs like tires and maybe wheels and O-ring injector O-rings, like ticky-tack stuff, nothing crazy. The two problem children are the one that's depicted behind me, the Porsche 924 Turbo, which might be the leader of the pack, just because it does not need the most amount of work. That would be the Barracuda, but the Barracuda is a known entity. Like it's slowly having body work done. It's slowly being painted. I just dropped off last week a replacement rearview mirror and some other correct parts for it. It's on a slow boat, and the slow boat will eventually make it to port. The one behind me, the boat doesn't exist yet. Like it may or may not need a turbo. It may or may not need all kinds of other stuff. It may or may not need trunk weather stripping. And if I can snap my fingers and have it done, I can move it and I can sell it and it can be gone. Versus the Barracuda, if I snap my fingers and it's done, it now needs to find a place to be parked at my house, which is currently where this 924 is. So I think the wise choice, the most amount of work is the Barracuda. The wise choice is the 924 Turbo, because then I can move on from it and hopefully mitigate my losses.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I'm going to make the wise choice here. I shouldn't, but I'm going to make the wise choice and say 924 Turbo, smogged, ready to go.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
How about you? What are you going to go? Ooh, can I guess? I'm going to say, oh, you've got some hard decisions to make, my friend. I'm going to say ACR Neon, but I don't know.
That's a good one. So I'm not going to go through all the cars that are currently in project status. But honestly, there's some, I mean, I thought first the Galant VR4 just so I can enjoy it, just maintenance stuff, but not that big of a deal. So my pick was the Corvette ZR1. I just would love to have that thing driving, especially with summer around the corner. And I really want to exercise it. And knowing that multiple shops have not been able to fix what's going on with it, I haven't even done anything. When I'm in the garage, I don't even make eye contact with it, dude. I've sat in it. I've sat in it like 3 times. And it's sitting there looking pretty. And I really want to fucking fix it. But it's one of those things, like it's lower on the priority list because I have cars I'm trying to get out. So, and I'm probably going to hold on to that one. So, not a rush to get it done, but I really wish I could just snap and have it enjoyable. That's the real reason behind it.
Yeah, because I mean, it's
going to be a blast.
I mean, think about it. In the pantheon of cars that are quote unquote special, it's probably your most special car, right?
Probably, yeah. I mean, I have some like the 300ZX twin turbo is an icon.
Yeah,
the Galant's cool. The ACR is rare. The NX is rare. Like I like everything I got. But yeah, as far as like,
but I mean, as far as like universally, historically,
it's a special car.
And special. It's probably the most special.
It is. It is a special car. So it needs to be. I would just love to. I just want to drive it. I just want to drive the damn thing.
It looks good though. Even not driving, it looks good.
Yeah, I mean, it's great garage decor. But it's just, I'm not even joking, sat in it maybe 3 times. So that's what I do. I put it out of my mind. Out
of sight, out of mind.
To an extent.
Boy. So I mean, I gotta cook up another dream scenario. How about this? You have, let's put a cap on. Let's just say $50,000. So it's a truncated dream. It's not a big dream. It's just a little dream.
Yeah.
Pickup truck.
Oh.
Any era, any style. We're talking slammed mini truck. We're talking yoked up, rolling coal brodozer. What's your knee jerk?
50K any truck, huh?
Yeah, pickup specific.
It's got to be a pickup. Huh?
Got to have a bed. She's got to have a bed.
I freaking love my Isuzu Trooper so much, but
I know.
I really do love that. I drive it every day. It's so good. It's funny, out of all my cars, and I haven't even done shit to it, man. I changed the oil on my $2,000. Oh, I put tires on it because I had 20-something-year-old tires. A Isuzu Trooper, and the fucking thing drives like a dream. Truck. I don't. You know what I really like, and it's an irrational like, but I really like them. The first gen Ford Raptor.
Ooh, that's a very rational like.
It's a good truck, dude. And I know the twin turbo V6 is better in every like objective measure, but there's something about that V6 or the V8, and it's just I like the way the original ones look. They just fucking look right.
And dude, I've seen, I know anecdotally, I know multiple people that have had like really good luck with them.
Oh yeah,
200,000
miles. Yeah.
One of my homies, one of my Carson Bids homies, he's got one in the family, and I believe it's one of the extended cab ones, not the quad cab, the extended cabs, which are pretty uncommon. I think they only had them for the first couple of years. But it's got the 6.2 in it, and I think it's got like 220,000 miles, and it like nothing. It's just basic maintenance.
Like, here's
an axle seal, like very
normal shit, and they're easy to work on. But did you know, big womp on that truck is the early ones you could get the 5.4.
Yeah, that's why I said the 6.2. Yeah, because it's not the first couple of years you can get the 5.4, and it's like
I either get the extended cab or the quad cab, but I always get the short bed. They look so good with a shorter bed.
Could you get one? Could you get a quad? Can you get one with a longer bed?
They had different bed sizes.
On the Raptors?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
I know like the bed length on the the extended cab is different than on the longer cab,
the quad cab. Yeah, I think you could get a different one. I don't know, but 4 doors is nice, like full regular doors.
Yeah.
But either way, God, they look good. I think they've aged good. I think that's a truck in 20 years that's going to look awesome with the Raptor graphics and just the way it looks.
Yeah, and it really kicked something off as far as, the next gen Raptor, and then you've got all these other, some Pro 4X stuff from Toyota which aren't nearly competitive.
Well, the T-Rex,
the GMs,
Dodge,
yeah, the right? T-Rex is like the checkmate atheists move. But I still think that what spurred on that whole like douche truck arms race was that original Raptor, and I think that will be the one that's going to stand out. And they've proven to be reliable.
You get it in that orangey red with the graphics. Yes. It's just fucking cool truck, right? That's it.
Is it? What's the name of that orange? Hugger orange, or is that a Chevy orange color? I don't remember.
I don't
but
know.
It might be. Yeah, I don't know.
Ford didn't have cool names for its color. Dodge had the better color names, but
yeah, Ford had some. What was was it Grabber Blue?
Oh yeah, a lot of them were on the Boss like 302s when they came back, like the Grabber Blue and the some kind of crazy green or whatever. But how about you, man?
Is this infected green?
50K, sub 50K truck pickup.
I think and this is going to be a bad choice, but it's a choice I'm choosing to make. I think I want to go like fully done first gen Tacoma.
Okay.
With like 4x4. My heart wants a regular cab.
Yeah, I like regular cab. Yeah.
And that was in the era when you can still get one. So 4x4 regular cab. I don't think you can get a 4x4 regular cab long bed on those. So just a standard bed, 6-foot bed. But with the TRD supercharger kit on it, and just extremely, I think if you have like a hyper low mile, like pre-facelift, so like say like a 98 Tacoma in an unusual color, like that purple color they had, standard cab 4x4, ordered new with the TRD supercharger with like under 50,000 miles and like everything done, you might be nipping at the heels of 50 grand.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're up against that price point, my friend.
Which is like, it's a bad choice because like just in a vacuum, that Raptor is literally and figuratively twice the truck. But I am kind of the idiot that has a soft spot for the Toyota trucks, and I completely understand. I completely appreciate that they are vastly overpriced in the marketplace.
Yeah,
and that they are, the legend like precedes them and overshoots their value. So it's not a wise choice, but it's a choice I'm going to make. It's going to be like a fully decked out, pre-facelift Tacoma, regular cab, 4x4, supercharged, oddball color. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, it's a nice truck. Yeah,
it's a very nice truck.
Good.
I know we're nipping at the heels of time, but you got anything?
Yeah, real quick. Any grounded, realistic bucket cars on your list you're thinking about checking off? Anything like in the near future? Like you've got your
like
personal
bucket list or like bucket, like
no, affordable affordable. I like to call this my realistic bucket list. It's like cars that I lust after, but I will and have the means to afford. I don't think it's like that much of a write-off financially. So like I'll give you mine and I'll kind of
why don't you go ahead.
So you know me, I'm big on 80s, 90s Japanese icons. I've had some pretty cool ones like the NSX 300ZX, the Stealth 3000 GT VR4s. I like those cars, but the one thing I haven't owned is a first gen MR2. And I have a soft spot for that car, and they are starting to be more valuable, but you can still find them. And I want to get one before those things are just impossible to get, because it's kind of a bucket list car I've always wanted. And I think the styling's awesome. I think it's a good power plant, cool car, like all around awesomely cool car. That's on my list, man.
Love those cars. Yeah, I've almost bought one several times. There
Same.
was one I had an opportunity to buy for $400. This is when I was in college. Um, for $400, it needed a water pump,
Mm.
and it was black. It was an '86, black with a manual. Basic though, manual everything. It had the
Yep.
steel wheels with like the cap and trim, which is like very uncommon. They almost always have the alloys.
Right.
And I was like, oh, let me think about it. And I went back the next day, and the guy just sold it like an hour before I got there. It's like, oh, because I was worried. I just lived in an apartment. I was like, I can't, like, these cars suck to work on. Like,
Yeah, you gotta have
you're
space.
not allowed to work on cars in the condo complex I was in. I'm like, man, like I got away with some, like, I did like Bondo work in that parking lot. Like, I got away with some shit, and I was like, I don't think I can like post up for multiple days doing a water pump on this thing. So I didn't, and then I had another opportunity to buy another one. It accidentally, oops, it has $1,000 in back due on it,
Oh,
back
that
due
sucks.
DMV fees on it. And the guy tried to, oh no, they're not going to charge you that. I'm like, fuck you, yeah they will. Didn't
Of
buy
course they
that
will.
one. And so what's your spec then? Like, are you going NA? Are you going supercharged? What's your
Uh,
year?
I
What's your
I would love to
color?
get the supercharge. I feel like a clean supercharged one's like totally too much for what it is.
Like
I think
35
I would
grand.
go straight up a nicer one. Good, like it's hard to find a clean body, and clean interior is actually the real challenge on those.
Yeah.
Clean interior, clean body. It mileage, I don't really care as long
Yeah,
as
if it's
it's like
clean and it's
if it's
tight,
clean,
whatever.
right? I just want that, and I want it not anything but black. I don't like the black ones. No offense.
Yeah,
Black cars just don't do it for me, but I like them in white. I think they look good in the lighter colors. Even though a red supercharged one would be pretty dope. But
yeah,
at this point, I'm just looking for one, and I'm expecting I do some maintenance to it. Because
sure.
right now, clean ones are just they're like 10K plus to get in the door. So
Yeah, and if easily 10K. I mean,
yeah,
there's
for a stock one.
see
Yeah.
for a stock one with a bunch of miles that absolutely needs deferred maintenance.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like worn out suspension and stuff like that.
Oh
Like
yeah.
really, really clean one, especially supercharged one, like
Oh, it's gonna be more. Yeah.
25 plus, like way
It's
wild.
insane.
Um, I really like those cars. I almost completely agree with you.
Yeah.
Um,
Dude, in 10
I
years, we will not be able to buy them.
I
Promise.
know.
10 years.
My dream spec would be if I was going to do supercharged, I'd go in like an 88 5 speed. They made a two like a almost a tritone, but it was like a two-tone, like dark blue, almost silver, light blue, dark blue,
Yep.
with a blue leather interior. And God, they're absolutely fantastic. I would love one of those.
Oh, what a cool
Um,
car.
in lieu of that, if let's say I came up short in the wallet, I would want an early card. I want an 85 red, because the 85, all of the trim, so the body side moldings, the mirror caps, the impact strip on the bumpers were all black.
So it
And
looks a
then
little, yeah.
80, like partway through 86, and then all the way to the rest, it was all color coded to match the body. I like the look of that, the black, all the black trimming. So like red with the black trimming, with the red and black two-tone interior.
Mm.
That would be that would be my cup of tea.
Yeah,
Um,
that's a ticking clock, man. I don't, if we don't get in the door for those, like I said, 10 years is sure gone. Five
what do we
years.
buy? Nice MR2, quad 4.
I think the quad fours will always be cheap. They'll just be rarer, but
They'll
they'll be
just quit
cheap.
existing.
Yeah.
Um,
They have, most of
yeah,
them have. And I put as an honorable mention CRX SI, like a
yeah,
really nice, clean
yeah,
CRX would
yeah.
be another bucket list
I know
car. I've
I know
never
a
owned.
guy who just picked up a teal one. There's like that 1 year only teal
Oh, it's a good
that
color.
they made. It's like 90 or 91, and he picked it up. And it needs a little bit of love, but it was a long-term one owner car. He's going to do some work on it. It's a pretty rad ride.
Yeah, it's a great
Um,
car.
my answer to that same question is going to be um, Celica Supra, man. It's been too
Yeah.
long. It's been too damn long, and it's very adjacent to the AW11 MR2. But 85, that same blue and light blue two tone if I can swing it.
Yeah, it's a good
Otherwise, SDR, super deep red or silver. Um, I just want a
one.
clean stock one. maybe wheels, because it's a 14-inch wide rim that's impossible to get good tires for. So
Oh, I know.
maybe I would put some like 16-inch like Anki mesh wheels on it just for fresh tires. But yeah, just stock and then drive the piss out of it. Like, and those have gotten expensive. Like a very, very nice one is now a $35,000 car, when it used to be, when I was in college, a very, very nice one was a $3,500 car.
Fun fact, I have 4 cars in my fleet that take 14-inch wheels, so yeah.
I know, man.
Glutton for punishment.
We need to corner somebody. Veredicine does a pretty good job, except
no, I got
they
my
never,
Falcons.
they never
I got
have them in stock.
my 200 treadwear Falcons on my shit boxes.
Yeah, it's I don't know. 14s. Man, I tell you.
Is it time to play a game, my friend?
I think it is.
I feel like it is. I feel like the mood is taking us.
We should cheers to this.
Preemptive.
We're gonna preemptively cheers, because it plays into the ad that I have queued up. And as I queue it up, sir, would you be so kind to tell the people what we're about to do?
Yeah, absolutely. Welcome back to our nearly infamous Automotive Print Ad Quiz Game Show. It's a a game show, kind of, but it revolves around automotive print ads. Now, these could be found in periodicals, printed magazines from the time period, 80s, 90s, early 2000s, are fair game. What's going to happen now is Frank's going to read through such a print ad, omitting anything that gives the specific car away. At the end of the ad, I get 3 guesses, and only 3 guesses, to guess what vehicle he is describing. These sales ads, sometimes are accurate, sometimes they're nothing related to the car. Every time I miss, I can ask for a hint, and I have 10 minutes on the clock once he finishes the ad. Frank, I'm ready, my friend.
Okie
Let me shut my lappy.
For posterity's sake. So, here is the rub. This is a one-pager.
Okay.
The bottom, let's call it 60% of the ad, has a profile shot of the vehicle, and there's a sunset in the background, and there's hills, and what appears to be a vineyard, like a vineyard during autumn. It's a lot of reds and oranges and yellows. And then within the photo, it says 95 is going to be a great year for Merlot.
Okay.
On to the text. For those with a palate for the finer things in life, we suggest you sample our latest vintage. The blank. You'll savor its smooth, rich finish, deep, complex, mysterious. We call it Merlot Mica. You're sure to enjoy the distinctive bouquet of its unique leather-trimmed interior, tastefully matched with a tan convertible top, and perfectly accompanied by subtle hints of sophistication, like 15-inch BBS wheels, a leather nardy shift knob, and extra deep, luxurious carpeting. By the way, between each, on the actual ad, between each sentence, instead of there's a period, and then instead of like a space, there's a bunch of grapes, and then it continues with the next.
Oh God, yeah,
next sentence. Yeah. So, but luxurious carpeting, bunch of grapes.
Gotcha.
Furthermore, this rare production is only available during 95. Is a full-bodied blend of all the standard ingredients: air conditioning, anti-lock brakes, dual airbags, and a warranty that covers you for up to 50,000 miles. Bunch of grapes. So open up our Merlot today and begin celebrating for years to come. Sir, that's the ad.
Don't even start the timer, because I know what she is.
I figured in your background is
yeah. So anyways, this is actually a 1995 Mazda Miata M edition.
It is.
And the M editions are pretty cool because they each had like a different flavor combination. That was the Merlot. They really sold the wine imagery on that one.
Yeah, like it's
good.
Over the top. With
cool
all the
car.
bunches of grapes and such. A really cool car. I actually just sold one of these on Cars and Bids, and for my car donation homies.
Sweet car.
Really good car. This
M
one had
editions
like
came with limited slips, which is a nice bonus.
they did, yeah.
But they had all
slip.
the weight because they were fully loaded models. So you had like, unlike mine, you had things like, I don't know, power steering,
air conditioning,
yeah, ABS.
yeah. But still, I mean, if you actually add up every single like, do you know generally like what the different weight difference is between
I do.
your stripper model and a
Sure.
full? What are we looking at? Are we talking like 300 pounds?
As someone who's owned 4 Miatas and weighed all of them and reviewed them, so I did a 97 that had every feature: ABS. It had the leather interior, the headrest speakers. It didn't have a limited slip, but it had everything else: AC, power steering, all that kind of stuff. That car weighed exactly, I think it was like 150 pounds more than what my stripped down. So it's actually not that much.
I was gonna say I would have thought it would have been more, but like,
no, not
that's
really.
Miata, baby. Like it's
still a light car. It was like
it's almost worth having all the things.
What was it? Just under 3,300 or 2,300 pounds, which is still insanely light. And you get good features. Like it was nice having a full interior and all that kind of stuff. And that was the 1.8 powered car. This is a 1.8 also.
Yeah.
After 94.
Yep.
Cool, man.
And yeah, the one I got to drive it and beat it up a little bit, in a good way. Like I wasn't bouncing it off the rev limb or anything, but I drove it spiritedly down my little test road I like to take it on, and it's just Miata. Like it's I don't want to sit here and pet a living horse. I don't know. I don't want to call it beating a dead horse because it's like it's positive. It's like I'm not beating a dead horse. I'm petting a live horse. But like everyone sings the praise of like, yeah, the NA Miata. It's the answer. It's the answer. And it's just like I would love to be Mr. Contrarian and be like, no way. But like they're just good. Dude, they just work.
There's totally detractors out there, and it's like a more like it's a known fact now that the Miata is a good handler. Like if you add handling mods, it becomes like a really competent car. But there's like when something's popular, there's always the counterpoint individuals like, it's just a Miata. And now they're not cheap, which because you sold one. How much did that go for, by the way?
10.7. Which was honestly, I think I thought the absolute floor on it was like 9, but I thought it could have gone for as high as 12.
What were the specs on it again? It was completely stock, right?
It was bone ass stock, 95 M edition, roughly 82,000 miles.
Maintenance.
Timing belt was good. Timing belt, water pump were good by mileage by a lot, but not by age.
Yeah.
Like I think the timing belt, water pump were done at like 55,000 miles, and it only had 82,000 miles, but it was like 11 years prior.
Holy shoot! Yeah, that needs to be done. It's a non-interference engine, but still.
Yeah, like, do you want to
play that game?
Do you want to do the work, or do you want to pay for a tow truck and like commute traffic? Like, what do you want to do?
Yeah, when that goes, you're done.
Yeah, and so there was some body work on it. I went around with a paint meter, and the front clip had been painted, and there was definitely some filler in the quarter. I was getting measurements of like the low 20s in the driver's quarter. But whoever did the paint work on it, like it looked good. Like everything matched. It was just a good car. It had a bunch of like dealer installed like stick on fake wood trim.
Oh yeah, I remember you showed me that.
Yeah, had the fake wood trim. Good car though. Like the tires were good. They were like data coded like 2019, so they had life in them. But just a good tight car. The whoever got the guy that bought it for his son, for his son's first car. His son was like 20. So but I guess that he told me, so he's like, yeah, I used to have a monster Miata. With the 5.0 swap and everything, and it turns out it needed a clutch, and then he took it to his mechanic. Was like, bro, this is an engine out on this car. This is like, you can't just do this in this car. This was not set up for this. And then he gave him some astronomical bill to do an engine out and all the while we're in there.
Yeah, it's gross.
And so he's like, and so he just sold it. And then it turns out the son was like, wait, I thought like I was gonna inherit that car one day. I've been like picturing myself driving a Miata for like 3 years now, 4 years now. And now it's gone, and he was like crushed. And so the dad was buying this M edition for him, which is cool. It's like, yeah, I don't know.
Dude, talk about a market we couldn't anticipate. I mean, I just shot the review of this one behind me, and like
Yeah.
the current market on NA Miatas is insane. Because you can still buy a $5,000 Miata, but you're gonna be at a $10,000,
It's gonna be
$12,000 Miata when
hard.
you're done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's gonna be beat. And like unless you're gonna like just make it, and you've seen them, the Miata with like the one sticker is like one fender is like covered in stickers, and the other
Oh,
one
it's
is
bad.
like it's like pure rust because they've replaced it and they never painted it. It's just the e-coat and it just rotted through and it's just surface rust. And you've
So
got the
much.
you've got the stuffed animal bouncing off the road from the tow hook and the rolled fenders and all that. And like that, okay, like if that's your hype, you want to be Miata fuckboy, and like okay, cool, do it. Like I don't let me rain on your parade. Like that's fine. But like that is now a $5,000 Miata when that used to be an $800 Miata.
Yeah. But to get a sorted one where all the maintenance is done and it's decent looking, like something like mine, you're not getting that less than like 8 to 10 all
Yeah.
day
Oh yeah.
or
Like if
more.
if you scored your car behind you for $9,500, it's like, oh, dude, well bought.
Oh,
Which is
it
which is
costs more than
bonkers. Which is bonk.
that.
Oh, exactly. And that's the thing. Like if you like that's it's I don't know. But here's the thing. Like if you want something adjacent to that, what else are you gonna buy?
There's nothing like for that analog feel and like rear wheel drive, lightweight.
I mean,
What do you get? What do you get? Convertible, lightweight, rear
986
wheel drive.
986 Boxster, maybe, but even then,
No,
it's gonna need
reliability.
work.
Yeah, way different animals.
They can be reliable,
Yeah, but a
but you
Miata
you
is
got to get
always
it there,
reliable.
and then at that point, oh, exactly, and then and it's not as light. It's not as they're very different cars.
Very different. But in the Miata, like in the
That's
review, one of my
that's probably
favorite
the closest.
yeah, one of my favorite points I bring up about the Miata is like literally I park it in my garage for a month, take it out, beat the living shit out of it, put
Hmm.
it back, and you know what? Every time it works.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
all it does.
No worries.
To be fair, I did that with my Cayman S too. So just to be that car was
Well,
good for that
sure.
too.
Yeah, that was
Oh,
that
oh,
was good. Those are good cars too.
very
I
good.
don't know. They're
Yeah,
very good.
Miata, dude.
It. I guess that's it. We solved it. It
That
really
is
is
the
the
answer.
answer. It is the answer.
That's a good one. I don't think we had done a Miata yet either, except for did I do the Mazda Speed Miata?
You did, yes.
That's
And I
the
think you
one.
stumped me. I think you
I
got
think
me.
I did.
I think you got me. I think I thought it was like a Mazda Speed 3, and I think that's where we ended. And I was like close, but but actually not close.
Let's
Um,
celebrate that without even wasting a second on the
Shit,
clock with some
0 seconds.
some PCP, some Project Car Progress. And Frank, what have you been working on? If you've had a chance to do
Oh
any
boy.
work.
I have not had a
Okay.
chance to do work, which is a shame. Um, Boy, I feel like I've done some work over the last week, just like here and there. I don't have I don't have the motor mounts installed on the 924 yet. I still have the broken 924 behind me. I still don't have the replacement master key on the LS 430 sorted out because somewhere between the key and the motor and the car
Ugh,
and the
yeah, I remember.
BCM and the electrical system, they don't want to talk. And so I think I just have to bite the bullet, take it to Lexus, and have them fist me for 500 and something dollars just to
I
throw
think
in the
it's,
key.
dude, I think that's a quality of life cost that's well worth it.
It is. I just need to get it done. I've
Yeah.
been too damn busy to get it to make that happen. The one thing the one thing I'll report back on what I've been up to, and part of why I've been so damn busy, and I'll call it maybe not my project car progress, but other people's project car progress. Um, I've been doing a bunch of photo work, and so I was just down in San Diego. Took the wife and I took the child to Legoland. We had a whole San Diego adventure. It was great. We did Legoland. We did SeaWorld. We fed a sloth. It was a thing.
Mm.
Outside of that, though, I tied a couple of photo shoots into that, and they were fun photo shoots for cars. So first one was a 1998 Ford Explorer Saline XP8, which
Cool
if you're
truck.
not, it's almost maybe the most 90s vehicle in the history of vehicles. For if you're not up to speed on it, it's a basically a body kitted limited production Ford Explorer This was number 27, I think. It had a number printed on the
Wait,
bumper.
Saline with a body kit? Get out of here.
I know, right? And some of them came with just like a tuned 5-liter V8 in it. This one had the tuned and supercharged 5-liter V8, which was good for I think like 290-ish horsepower. Full production run was like I think under 200. They made like 180 of them. This one had miles on it. It had 160,000 miles, but it's like that cocaine white with the gray leather. Just it really sweet truck. Sounded fantastic. Wasn't super fast, but just like
not. Yeah.
like supercharged noises.
Yep.
And it just looks like a 90s porno shoot. Like it's just so 90s.
Good car.
So yeah, took it out, got to spend a couple hours with it, did photo work, and then shout out to our friend of the pod, Kenan, who of Cars and Bids and YouTube channel fame. He had me shoot his Ferrari 355, the one that he properly complained about on our pod a few weeks ago, and so I got to take it out, do some photo work with that. I have some thoughts on that car. It's very cool. It's very special. I completely understand why he's selling it. I suppose I'll leave it at that. But that was all the progress I made was like taking, hopefully, we'll see, I'm still editing them, but hopefully sexy photos of other people's cars to sell. How about you, sir? Have you been turning wrenches or not turning wrenches, or what are you doing?
Again, same deal. Busy, but not worth mentioning on the pod. But yeah, I've been super busy, but when I can, try to get some time in the garage. So real quick PCP hit. Working on that Chevy Tahoe, the coolant leak that I discovered when I was supposed to be doing just a secondary air pump. So these are the plastic end tank ones that are just known to leak over time. This is not the original radiator, so it's been replaced. Someone's been in there before, I can tell, because they swap out those horrible hose clamps where you need the hose clamp pliers to just the regular worm gear ones. That's how I know someone's been in there 9 times out of 10. But it's tricky, though. It's tricky with this car because or with this truck, because the radiators are different based on what features you had. So if you had different types of coolers, like different trans coolers, engine coolers, and things, your radiator was completely different because it had to have the inputs for all those coolant lines. And
tow
some
package,
were actually
no tow package, all that.
Right. And some were flipped on the other side. So if you didn't have that, you'd be completely boned when you went to install it. So you really got to look at the radiator that's in your truck before you start buying. So I sourced one of those. It's kind of a pain in the butt to take all those lines off. Those lines are kind of finicky. You have to pop a clip out, and if you bend that clip, it'll never seal perfectly and you'll leak there. But it's just a pain in the butt. I didn't expect that one to come, but anyway, that's going to be it. Slapping a new radiator, we'll be good to go. Hopefully the secondary air resets after a few drive cycles. That's going to be the mystery, right? So I can't drive it right now because it doesn't have coolant. So it's like a double-edged sword. So I had to fix it, and I'm doing it for someone else. It's not my truck, so I have to call and clear everything I'm doing. So, it's like one of those worst-case scenarios. They're like, "What do you mean it's leaking coolant?" I'm like, "Trust me, it's nothing to do with the secondary air."
What'd you do to my car, man?
Right. You honked the horn the wrong way. But the Miata, I did some more work on that. Well, I didn't do the work this time. I outsourced it because I can do some stuff interior wise, but seat coverings, you got to do them just right or they look like shit. So I had them professionally recovered and they came out epic, dude. Like the black leather just matches the interior of that car. It looks pretty good now. I'm pretty happy with how it came out, and did the review of it, and it's a fucking blast. What a cool car, man. It's a blast.
I gotta see it and I gotta drive it. But yeah, you
do gotta. It's so pure, dude. Manual rack, no AC, no power steering, no ABS from the factory. It's as pure can get. So,
speaking of which, I've got a line on a and it's I'm putting this out there. We're gonna do this on air.
Oh boy.
If you want to have some seat time with it, it's another B6 Audi S4. This time a 6-speed.
Okay.
It's coming through Car Donation. It's I'm ordering just some like appearance parts, some trim pieces. Silver over black. It's a 2004. I'm gonna put it on Cars and Bids. And if you want to play with it and you want to do a review or not, have at it, my friend. Because I had an automatic and it was good, and I kind of like the cars, and I think you should get some seat time in them. You should check it out.
Those are cool. How's the maintenance looking on that one?
I don't know.
Fuck it, I'll review it.
Allegedly, yeah, allegedly. Well, allegedly the timing chain is nice and quiet, which is the one major bugaboo on those.
Until it isn't.
Yeah, until it isn't. But yeah, so I think you should check it out, homie.
Yeah, let's definitely talk about that, man. I'll run that thing through. We'll take a bet to see what the 0 to 60 time is and curb weight and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, that'll be fun. Maybe on next week. Tune in next week for the results. Or probably not. But maybe, hey, you're gonna have to find out.
All right, take us home, Daddy. We're done with this.
Oh no. And you're done with us. And thank you for putting up with this nonsense for this entire duration of this episode and all the other episodes. If you want more episodes, I'm sorry, but keep listening to all the places that you're listening to podcasts, like the one you're listening to right now. And if you have an opportunity to do all there's like the Apple podcast things, you can leave reviews. There's all the things that you
Spotify,
can do.
all the big ones.
All of that. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your enemies, and we genuinely appreciate you guys listening along. We're not making money from this, so we're only doing this to have you listen to our terrible ramblings, like I'm doing right now. You can listen to us and view us on all of the things that are YouTube. So do that. Check that out. We're on Instagram. That's APA Podcast. I am Frank, and I am able to be viewed upon. Why are you laughing, sir?
I am Frank.
How dare you?
It's like I am Groot.
I am Groot. I'm Groot. And yeah, I'm the photographer's garage and all the things. And you are Chadwick. You are not Groot. And where can the people track you down?
Auto Obsessive Garage, rescues, restorations, and reviews, and sometimes on Instagram.
Occasionally. Okay. Well, thank you for occasionally or not occasionally listening. We generally appreciate it, and we will bid y'all's adieu.
Peace out, guys. Thanks again. Take care.